Hello, my name is Lexi Davis. I'm a self-discovery coach, a yoga and meditation instructor, a love enthusiast, and a really playful human being. I serve people through my business, Alive to Enjoy, and this is Heart Snuggles, a holistic wellness podcast where I invite guests to drop into their heart space through authentic conversations and compassionate intentions, all in mini cuddly episodes, hoping that you connect to your truth in the most authentic version of yourself. I hope you enjoy. Welcome, Heart Snugglers. We're so excited to have you today, and I brought a special guest. So go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, all. My name's Hans. I'm from Vermont. I live in New Orleans now, and I'm a singer-songwriter. And yeah, I'm happy to be on here and just talk with Lexi about, well, probably mainly mental health, but everything. I don't know. Yeah, I get to meet you first too, but yeah,
Yay!
having me.
Of course. So the question of the podcast that we start with is, what was the last random act of kindness someone did for you?
Oh, Jenny's making me a bowl of cereal right now. My roommate. Yeah,
Amazing.
yeah.
Making me a bowl of cereal.
Well, that's what we do. We're in college, so, we make, yeah, frozen food and stuff.
I love
The
it.
art, yeah.
Okay, thanks so much for sharing that. And so let's get started with your story. So how do you, I guess, start with music? Like, how did you get into music? And you're so young, like, and you feel like you've already, like, had some success.
I'm trying to, just make it, like, yeah, feasible before I graduate college, but if it's not, it's okay, I can get another job and stuff, but yeah, thanks. I started, like, just kinda like I started songwriting when I was maybe in, like, 2nd or 3rd grade, and I think I started with rap mostly. I would just like go to this recording studio or like this just place to take lessons for the guitar. It's called the School of Rock. I think it was like kind of a chain they had going. And I would go for guitar and then kind of just take advantage of like all the other equipment they had there. And once I had like a CD, like a burnt CD of like me rapping on something, I would like start handing it out and stuff. And then I realized, like, this is,
So
like,
cute.
3rd grade or something, and then I realized, like, that wasn't my speed. I started playing guitar and just got less into rap and more into like, singer-songwriter stuff throughout middle school and started like, I found this producer in my town, which is dope because I come from, it's, like, right across the river from Dartmouth, in Vermont, so it's not totally isolated, but if you're gonna, like, find a producer, um, it's probably not the place to look at all, so I got really lucky with this dude, Finn, and he still produces all my stuff, and we started releasing stuff on Spotify, and then, from there, I don't know, it's been a really slow, like, I see people now, like, have their whole like career together, put it out on TikTok, and then like within like 6 months, it's like, oh my God. But for me, it's been like five years of just like kind of doing the same stuff, which is great. And yeah, now I'm like feel like I'm getting my stuff together a little bit more now that I'm finishing college. But yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And I mean, I just love how you've known since such a young age. You're like, I like this, creating music and singing, and it's so easy to compare ourselves, especially with how crazy people are and quickly on TikTok and Instagram and whatnot. But like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't take away from your gift and
Yeah,
like
no.
how good you are.
No, it's totally just another like way of building community. I don't know. You can build a community overnight or you could build it in 5 years. And there's different, well, it's also just depending on the people but depending on the way you're building it too, you could attract different kinds of people who want different kinds of things. Um, yeah, but I think I'm really proud that it's like been a long haul because I have people who, when I was like 17 and released that first song, and I'm like 21 now, it's been 4 or 5 years, who are like, I've been listening to you for five, like it's crazy. We really, and they, maybe they were whatever 14 or like 17 or 20 when they found the song, and now they're 5 years older, and that, yeah, it's just like we uh maybe I haven't been releasing a ton of consistent music, throughout that time, but it's cool they can just follow that like journey. And yeah, now I'm excited to actually release a ton of music. But um, the virality thing is like it's scary because what if that's not the best representation of like whatever you're trying to. What if it's just like a stupid funny video that I put out? You know what I mean? But
Yeah, yeah. And that's the best part about music too, is that it's timeless and, like, you create something it's like one of the few things that really, like, people listen to for their lifetimes and even after we pass away, like, that's so cool that you don't need 1,000 songs, like, realistically, some of our favorite old artists, you only listen, like, a couple of their songs, so
yeah, yeah.
it takes some pressure off when you think about it like that, and also you've been through a lot of hard things and you're pretty vulnerable in your music too, so how have you gotten the courage to share from so openly from your heart?
Yeah, I've been like super lucky to just have the outlet. To like I don't know what how else if I don't know if I'd be nearly as outspoken if I didn't have like an outlet to put it through. But yeah, I totally like I realized this week, like literally had my like the like traumatic experience, like the you say I've been through a ton of stuff, but it's really just this one experience and then kind of like trying to suss all of that out after. And I think being at Tulane throughout that time didn't help really, just like, you know, it like reaffirmed all of the, bad feelings and stuff. But um yeah, I think like if I didn't have the outlet, I don't know if I would really talk about it like that. But yeah, so I realized it was in like my bio or like my informational bio, literally like what had happened to me, which I don't know if you have to be that like outspoken about it, but I think honestly, wherever you can tell the story is like it'll help. I hope it won't desensitize, but I think it just helps like bring exposure. And like you read something like that, and maybe you've had like a slightly similar experience. I don't know. It just puts it into like a real context instead of like shrouding it in, all this whatever. Because there are reasons that we don't treat deaths by suicide the same way as we treat other tragedies, and it's because you don't want people to repeat or yeah, take that sort of inspiration like the wrong way. But I think every chance I've gotten, like just talking about it, has always helped me, and I hope it's always helped other people. I think it's a little hard when you're in a community and something happens and it's not entirely your story to tell. Like I had, there were a lot of other like friends that, and I should probably just introduce what happened, but yeah, it definitely I've felt it's just been like um the more I can touch on it in my music, the more it helps me and the more cathartic it feels for me. And then, people will reach out and have like, the exact same story or something kind of like it or their own story or yeah. Like all these different ways in which I didn't even think people would be able to take inspiration or guidance from that experience.
Yeah, and that's the whole point, like, the reason we have stigmas is because we keep shame around it and we keep it quiet, and nothing's gonna change if we don't start having harder conversations and speaking about death in general, like, just needs to not be so feared, especially in American culture. It's, like, something we just avoid speaking about, and that just perpetuates the problem, and luckily nowadays, like, therapy and mental health has definitely become wider and more accepted, and it's not just like, "Oh, there's something wrong with you," but, like, we all see now. But yeah, so I would love for you to share your story about, your suicide interaction.
Yeah, yeah. So it was like, or I should probably just start. So I came from a smaller town. It was like 4,000 people, and there were like a handful of suicides. I think it happens like everywhere, but yeah, I guess in the greater area, there wasn't a high school in my town. So it was like this conglomerate of towns that had this high school in Hanover. And yeah, I remember vividly, like there were a couple suicides in our town, and it rocked. Like clearly everyone was affected, but we didn't like talk about it quite like that. I remember I think there were outlets for it if you wanted, but, yeah, it just wasn't something that, like, we rehashed ever, and I totally understand that. It's a small community, and you don't wanna keep, you know, like, putting salt in the wound, but yeah, I do kind of remember it being just like passing over and then thinking like for a while what happened there and like yeah and having like a weird association with like I knew where the people lit where I grew up with this girl and her brother who ended up passing away by suicide, but um and then my friend's mom too also just unexpectedly died by suicide as well. And so we had this in our family, like my middle brother had been infected the most, just being really not really close to um I guess in proximity just in his grade he was close to this first person. And then his friend's mom was like a turning point where um I think we like as a family just started to take like mental health more seriously. But I hadn't had my own, not that I needed it, but I just couldn't really relate because I hadn't had like a firsthand or like close experience. And then the first couple days I got to Tulane. Um, I don't think classes had started yet, but we were all just like kind of getting our things settled. And um like I was playing the guitar for a while, I remember, and my friend comes back to like he's my neighbor, he comes back to like get the door, and he sees that his friend is like hanging on the other side of it. And we like bust down the door um and go in. And I was like, I just remember this because it really like messed me up for a while. But I was in there alone with him for a bit, just like trying to get him off this door hanger. And then other people came in and helped out. But yeah, by that point we were just like way too late. But yeah, just like rocked all of us. Like we was just like 50 or 100 boys in this one hallway, and like not everyone was involved with like the rescue, but just knowing that like a kid died right there was like enough to, a lot of people were just like, honestly, thinking back on that experience too, we really didn't talk about it as a hall that much. There was like one day of like, all right, if someone needs a guidance, if someone needs like a case manager or something, got it. But like, and we maybe talked with the dean of students or something together. But yeah, there was that. And then there's also just kind of like eerily similar, this other interaction I had with something similar where a kid kind of died by it was just this tragic accident that happened towards the end of my that same year, freshman year. And it kind of like it wasn't clear if what exactly what it was, but it basically bookended that year with like a suicide and then another tragic death. And there was clear like just Tulane has some, and I'm not blaming it all on the school or anything, but there's definitely some issues that have to be sorted out here. And yeah, it definitely was a hard scenario for the kid who died by suicide in my freshman hall. His name's Jake Vanderkar. And he had just been through, I think he was kind of waiting to go to college to make this decision for himself. But yeah, I think that's kind of like stuck with me for a really long time here. But at the same time, I think I've kind of like I have a really strong community of people here that had been through the experience with me, and I've stuck with those people for a long time, like thinking, is this gonna reaffirm all of it, or is this gonna be like good so I can put it into a real true context? And like I think both happen, but I'd much rather have like accept it and know that it's real than like transfer schools and be like, I'm out of here. I'm never going back to New Orleans again. Like that would have like, allowed me to create this whole like not like I'm trying to find the word, just like nightmare. I don't know. I wouldn't have been able to put it into a real context. And here I can like face it. I know it was honestly a little bit too much. Like I lived in that room for the whole
Oh,
rest of the year, and not that room, but the one right next to it. And so it was always like, yeah, there were a couple times like I broke down the door, and I struggle with it, but I struggle with it, I think, so that I've like reckoned with it, and I've really like, yeah, I still think about it a lot, but it like, I think it's made me stronger. And yeah, I think there's a balance between like desensitizing yourself and like recovering. And I don't
Hmm.
know where I hit in there, but I definitely am on a good, I'm feeling a lot better.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, it's a part of you for the rest of your life, it's like, and it's really good that you were able to be there and, process it, because so many of us just start to avoid and numb and disassociate. And although that seems easier, it's really not, because we carry that weight for longer. Whereas you just like facing it head on is super intense and not any bit fun. And also, like, you're able to like make it to the other side and be more, now you're sharing your gift with more people and being able to help people and support others in that way and talk about the hard things and, like make mental health known to more people, which is really important. And how do you
Yeah.
think you like got through that? Because that's extremely traumatic.
I like didn't, I don't, I was just in a really bad place for a really long time. Like it was, yeah. I definitely like, yeah, I try like freshman year was not a good time. And thinking back to that, meeting people now again from freshman year, just like, I don't know, people watching me having changed from freshman year. I'm doing a lot more music on campus now, and I've had a lot more time. We obviously had COVID after freshman year and a little bit in sophomore year too, but things are kind of back to normal now, and people are like, "Oh, you're so much more sociable." I'm like, I was sociable in high school, and then I got all fucked up. Sorry, I got all messed up.
Oh, you can swear on here. It's fine.
Okay, all right, great. I got all fucked up. Um, yeah, and I think they totally understand that, but I honestly think, yeah, sticking with the people that had been through it and the two other kids that were in that room with me, like resuscitating Jake and one of the cops too. We get well, the three of us we're good friends, and then the cop we see like once a semester and grab dinner or something with, and we just like, I don't know, keep it in a real context. I think it's like, yeah, you can make all of these like assumptions or blames or whatever, and I totally did that for a bit, but I think like just like taking it as facts. Like one of the things that messed me up was I was playing the guitar for a really long time while Jake was in there. And like I always think, I should like, I'm sure the door was locked, but like, what role could I have played in those moments? And like, yeah, I'm honestly a big believer of like serendipity, and it's so fucked up to apply to this scenario, but it's just like, shit, maybe that's exactly, the way it was supposed to be. And different, I don't know. I also saw a therapist for a bit, and then beyond that, I think the biggest outlet for me was music. And once I like could put it into this song, it was like it was very cathartic to play, and I think releasing it was another whole step to that. And I had to like get comfortable with people with
Hmm.
with me like singing about this thing. It's not always, there were other people at the school, much better friends with Jake from high school that really known him, and I was gonna put this, experience into like a song. So I sent it to his mom and his friends before releasing it, and same with the video, and they loved it. They think it's a commemoration, but definitely I've heard since then from friends that sometimes it's a little the songs like it's just around on campus a lot because I think it cuts deep with like between what happened at the beginning of the year and the end of the year with that other kid's accident. Like people definitely resonate with it here a lot, but I don't want to, push it in someone's face that doesn't want to see that sort of thing. But yeah, sorry to answer your question. Definitely music, therapy, and friends, and framing life in like a context that I can understand, which is really harsh too. Just like accepting that because there are some things where I was like, well, if that's how it's supposed to be, then like, shoot, maybe I'm like, I don't know, like
Hmm.
this is very fragile essentially, and yeah, there's no, maybe my whatever predisposed path is not what I think it is and ends quicker than. So I had some struggles with that too. Just like, yeah, just having like kind of nightmarish, like hellish, like
Mm.
thoughts. But I think just realizing it, putting it into real context, and like I said, having the people around you was definitely like the biggest support system.
For sure. And that acceptance space, although it's hard and it feels almost like wrong, especially because society makes you feel wrong, but it like you have to accept it in order to move on. And it fucking sucks. But
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
yeah, and then the guilt too. I was gonna ask you about that because that's to me like one of the hardest parts of like you immediately like when I've had anyone die, it's like, oh shit, what could I have done? Like I wish I
yeah,
would have reached out to them. I wish I would have told them I love them. Like the guilt is so heavy and really uncomfortable when especially when someone dies so unexpectedly.
yeah. Um, I think just framing it in ways that were, and that was really hard because yeah, it was just like this like big realization I had, and I really hadn't been through anything. Luckily, like I said, there'd been people who had died by suicide in my town before, but I've
Yeah,
been
I
really
get it.
lucky to be had been sheltered from literally any kind of like distinct hardship before then. My parents have always been super supportive, and I come from a super supportive family, and yeah, I think it was just like a big like I don't know. Ironically, what like you try to find in college is like a
Mm.
sense of real world, and like Tulane's not that. It's a big bubble that people will have that epiphany when they leave. But for that was for me what kind of like I felt like I don't know. It definitely like ended my. I'm still like goofy and youthful, and I've definitely gotten more in the last few years. But there was a time where I was just like a lot more deadpan, like
Mhm.
serious about stuff, and or like overcompensating, like being goofy or something maybe. Yeah, but it took me a while to like figure out how to get myself back a little bit. And as far as the guilt part, I think being in touch with the mom a lot, and family, and just like surrounding family has helped a lot. And hearing how the songs affected them in a positive way, and it's lifted like a lot of that off my shoulders. And I don't know, I was proud like with the way I acted, but obviously there's like 10 things I'm like, fuck, I wish I had done that. And now I know for the next time that happens. But yeah, that's basically the way I had to frame it. It's just, yeah. And it's hard because it like deduces life a little bit. Like, I don't know, you're just kind of, yeah, it feels like you should give more, should be, I don't know, there should be more back and forth with it. But I've done that back and forth work to get to a place where I can be like, yep, I'm happy with this, or at least I'm content, and so this feels like resolution. Yeah,
Mhm.
but
Yeah, having
it always feels better and better. Sorry, it always gets better and better, and every time I play a show or play that song or share an interaction like this, yeah, it feels better. So yeah.
and it must be I was thinking about that too, like, it must I wonder if, like, sometimes does it feel hard to sing it? Like, because you always have to bring it back.
Yeah, yeah. It does, but I feel like I think about it enough that that puts it in a context that it's like much rather think about it in that context and see like however many people like singing the song that like yeah we can all relate with in some horrible way, but it's great. Like Tulane, they're just super supportive of especially that song and this other song all as well. It's kind of in the same vein. Yeah, and we throw these huge shows and we get everyone singing that song, and it's really cathartic for a lot of people, especially myself. And I don't like shy away from that on stage. I'm like, fuck guys, like, and yeah, I don't think I haven't like cried on stage or anything, but it's hard when you're singing. I don't think that's even possible. But no, I definitely feel that you know that feeling of just like catharsis that's really deep and maybe you feel like you might cry, but it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's definitely like a huge release. Yeah, or even just playing it for one person, like, or for
Mhm.
yourself, that can be emotional too. But um, yeah, I think just having the song to act as this like um symbol of strength for people who are going through all that sort of stuff. I've definitely done. I've played the song over like, or just film myself playing it and send it to people who need it, or yeah, and that's honestly even cooler because I know they're gonna watch it on their own time and we'll have that connection on like an asynchronous basis. But yeah, um, sorry, I kind of forgot what you asked and just ran
It's
away.
okay.
I don't know about you guys, but I know I've been struggling to find inner peace lately, and thankfully I discovered Open, a mindfulness studio for everyone. As a yoga teacher, it's been difficult to find an online studio that actually shifts my well-being, and wow, let me tell you, Open transforms your mind through body and breath in an immersive space designed to take you to the here and the now, no matter where you are or where you begin. Open offers live and on-demand breathwork, meditation, yoga, and Pilates guided by the leaders in mindfulness, centered on music and rooted in community. Hello, two of my favorite things. And their aesthetics are on point. So as always, I'm getting you the best of the best. So I got you 30 days free. Just use the code HeartSnuggles and let your ritual begin now.
I also think it's so normal for you to, it takes time to come back to your normal self after something like that. So like having the grace that like, of course you were affected and like in a low place for a long time. I love that you're able to now like find that balance of like who you are again and start to socialize and like be your goofy self. And yeah, it just like takes time that it's not, yeah, it's not supposed to go quickly. So yeah, just honoring that. And also like what I've found from death is that we're supposed to, like, kind of bring their gifts into the world, and, like, that's the way since you didn't even know him that well, but, like, at least you have this song to, like, share with the world now, and that's, like, a piece of him, and you get to spread his magic in that way.
Right, that's such a good point too. And yeah, I like what I from what I did know about Jake, he loved to freestyle and he wanted to be in music. So like I'll freestyle at my show sometimes. And yeah, I think it's definitely good to be able to commemorate. At the same time, like I also didn't know him that well. So it's a balance that you have to strike. It's not like I want to be overbearing with it. But yeah, I think I'm happy that I was just really happy that his friends and family were on the same page about the song. Because if they weren't,
Yeah.
it would have been this whole. Well, I just would have kept it for myself probably. But um, yeah, it was just so really supportive that they were, and maybe if it was a bad song, they'd be like, "Get out of here." But I don't know. I think th- that was like the biggest kind of like almost like them forgiving me. Not that I needed it, but I did it in my own head for a while. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. And so, I'm curious how how you approach life now because with death for me, it's made me be like, "Oh, fuck, like, there is no time to waste here, like, I'm
I
not
can
gonna
see
do
that.
some
Yeah.
boring shit." So, like, how do you use that as fuel to make sure that you are enjoying yourself?
Yeah. I'd say I attack life like that for the most part. Sometimes I overthink. I get a little stressed between school and music, but
Of
yeah,
course, yeah.
yeah. And I'm just bad at time management too. But um, yeah, I think it's like helped me put into perspective. Yeah, everything, and it's hard. I don't know if I'm like. I think for the first few months after, I was like pretty reckless. Like I was like because I realized how fragile life was, and I was like, yeah. I also was just like getting really drunk to like. I mean, Tulane's a part of school too, but it was just like the perfect storm of
Mhm.
excuses to do that. Um, I think now, yeah, definitely. It's hard to say exactly the effect it had, like, because I can't really decipher it from where I would be without it. So I don't know. I'm happy with how I go after life though. I don't know if it's really like always go get them, but I think it's definitely been I'm do things that make me feel comfortable now. But at the same time, like try and push myself a little bit outside. I'm trying to think. I've really just been focused on my music career since that's happened. That's been like my number one focus. And I've
What?
gone through school and done it, but I think I would be doing it a little bit differently if I wasn't doing music. So yeah, it's kind of just reaffirmed. I think all the like energy and passion that you feel and you're putting into your work in life, and the people that you give therapy to, I'm doing with my music, and maybe it's not always go get them, but especially when I'm with other people, it's hard to because in New Orleans, I have a couple people that I write with here, but my my producer and like um I guess yeah, mainly my producer, he's not here. He lives in Vermont, so it's hard. We work remotely a lot. But yeah, I think it's definitely like it kind of told me like you have to go do this now, especially since I just had this like much stronger connection with music after that. Like I've tapped into I write about that a lot, and not specifically about it, but it weaves its way in and out of things. And yeah, I feel like it's the only way I'll be able to like keep track of myself and also make a living at the same time. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the whole point. Like that's for you, that's what it is. It's like you gotta know that your passion is music and follow that. And you're not gonna question it because you're like, that's what you love. So I think that's really beautiful. And
Right.
you're really
Yeah.
good. You have such a nice natural voice.
Thank you. And I think it's also what I need too, though. It's just like the like sussing out the emotional stuff. I'm not as good as that. Not in a sonic, basis.
Yeah.
But yeah, it gives a little bit of an out for me too. And I don't know. It's like if it's therapeutic now, I can only imagine what it's gonna do for me when I have more problems in my 50s or whatever. Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
for sure. Yeah. And you're still in school. So like you're not that at that completely like freedom state yet where you're
Oh,
just
I'm
like
there.
you're like, I am.
Once I finish these assignments today, actually, we're in that free. Yeah, no, we're
I
out of
love
here.
that.
Or I'm not leaving New Orleans immediately, but yeah, I'm excited for this summer, definitely. But school plays an interesting role because I'm off campus now, so I feel much better about that. But when I was at school, both years I lived at, well, first where Jake had passed away, and then the second year, the second kid, Ray, who actually knew a lot better, he was in my frat. The building he fell off of, I lived on that same floor. So it was just like schools, Tulane's been great. I love it. I love the people here for the most part. And I love that sounds so bad. Wow. I
It's
love
so normal.
yeah, I love the community that we have here. But at the same time, there's so much hard shit for me and a lot of kids here that I've just been like living in this like I don't know, there's so many good memories. It's like that the absolute highs and the absolute lows, and like that's a little bit like tumultuous.
Extreme.
So I'll be ready to take a little break from the city and get to like I'll spend some time in LA, which is like it's like not real. I don't know, it's not definitely not as comforting as Vermont, but there's something cool about going to a brand new space because it feels like yeah, you
Yeah.
you leave all of that stuff, in my mind. Um, but yeah, I'm kind of ready to move out west. Yeah.
Fair enough. The West Coast is best. Okay, but one last question is how do you check on your friends and make sure you guys are taking care of each other's mental health?
Yeah. I it's hard actually because um yeah, I think so I'm not like diagnosed with anything. Not that that is not that you still don't have issues, but I think I've been lucky to not have a physiological imbalance going on. but I think both my friends, both my roommates do, and I really just kind of have to like learn from them about that and from what I have. Um, yeah, I definitely check in when I can, but um, for both of them, it's been like meds are really good, and they I don't know, it's very much like they don't, not that they don't need my support by any means, but it's like I think they definitely have a system that they've relied on in terms of like keeping like consistent with just like emotions. But yeah, I think checking in maybe more than you have to. I don't know. If you're like, I check in on my friends, on Jackson, especially. He lives back there like all the time to the point where it's like he would come tell me, I think, if he was really, really feeling bad. But sometimes he doesn't like to say. So, it's it's like a feeling out process. And I'm totally the dude that like just tell me I don't know. I'm very open about all my stuff. So but it's hard. Just because you're open about your stuff doesn't mean you can expect other people to, you know, give off the same exact um like exuberance for therapy. And I think exuberance for therapy is a good thing, but like, sometimes people are just like trying to sort out stuff individually or, on
For
the phone with
sure.
their mom. But yeah, I don't know. How do you go about doing that?
Yeah, well, I think what you said is just like leading by example. Like the fact that you are able to, even if they're not ready yet, just gives them permission to feel that even on their own time, or like to know that that's okay to have those feelings. And so, yeah, leading by example, I think the best way. And at first, for me, it was really hard because I was like, I'm sharing my heart too. Like, why the fuck are you not sharing it back? Like, I want to know what's happening with you. But then I was like, hey, wait, this isn't about me. Like, this is like their own journey. And also just like checking in on them lets them know you love them. Like, you don't have to, like, they don't have to tell you anything, but just like letting them know, like, I I shower my friends in love all the time. I'm like, I love you, like all the time. They're like, Lexi, we know. And I'm like, you don't get it. I'm like, but I think that's just like I can't help it now because I've lost way too many people that I'm like, there's no way I'm not gonna check. But and also I'm very energetic and I can feel immediately when someone's not doing well. And I won't pry, but I will like be like, how are you really? Like, feel like I'm good. I'm like, are you though? And it's like if they will, then I will. But if not, I'll just be like, hey, I'm here for you whenever you need. Like, I love you. And you can't really do much more besides that. But yeah, and I also like something I do is I create a lot of community spaces. So I'll do like fun little events or potlucks or like pool parties or just things to bring people together. It's because community is like the most important thing. And I find a lot of people that die by suicide is like that they don't feel like they have a purpose or they don't feel like they're loved or needed. And so yeah, I just feel like having people together is really important.
Right. Especially now that we can. Which is
Yeah.
cool. How did you get into like, taking on clients? Was it you just so loving to your friends and they're like, you have to share this, or more like a formal process?
No, so I after college, I moved abroad to Australia for 2 years, and at the end of my journey or during it, I got trained in yoga, and that was the first time I ever cried. Like, I never really cried before that, and I was super detached from my emotions and, like, yeah, I was just disconnected completely. But I was still always that really loving person to everyone else, but just not towards myself. And then at the end of my journey, I volunteered at a holistic health retreat, and my roommate was a life coach, and she was telling me what she does, and I was like, "You get paid for that?" Like, I do that to all my friends always. She's like, "Just do it." And it's a industry where you don't need to be certified, which most people are, but I just trusted myself enough because I've had so many life experiences. I was like, I can support people. And so I
Yeah.
kind of just started and as just like your journey, like mine's been slow. I had my business for 4 years. But the first 2 years wasn't really, I wouldn't really consider it a business, but it technically was. And then it's just like slowly progressed the more I've got comfortable with myself. And yeah, it's just such a great gift to like, because I felt so alone at so many parts of my life that to give that to people.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a special thing. Yeah, I wouldn't know exactly how to do that. I honestly have trouble, even just with like people. I think what's hard, people you really know. to check in on them consistently like that because they're not there for therapy. But yeah, that's an awesome feeling too, because I do love like just getting people vulnerable if they need to.
It's the best thing.
I try to do it at my shows all the time. I'm like, I have to plug this. It's called Always Check on the Homies. This shirt, this company, I think it's this and a couple other hoodies, but they're expanding. It's just merch right now, and they put I think like 15% of the proceeds or something to Jed right now, and then eventually they're going to turn into like a greater mental health organization that's actually running their own initiatives instead of just selling clothes. But they gave it to me for a show, and I was like, just kind of, I'm bad at talking between songs, but just kind of like talking about, this song. And I was like, these two guys, this guy gave me this shirt, says always check on the homies. And this other guy, Danny, who makes upcycle clothing, gave me this piece. And I highlighted like some of his campaigns. Basically, it was just like, we need to talk about this. And like, it's hard because you guys come to see a show and you're not looking for, not everyone wants to get vulnerable, but I was like, I got you here now. I was like, now all you are listening to me talk about mental health. So bam. But yeah, you don't even need to, ideally it's a conversation. It's not just me saying, talk about it. But that I think is like, interrupted his set so we could have that message. I don't know. I don't say a lot of stuff on stage. So I think like, yeah, if you're gonna say something,
I mean, yeah, I think it's powerful. And something else that came to me is like, you don't need to like, I've now learned how to be good at conversations, and I know how to hold space for people and like open people up, but like your gift is your music, and like that's your way. Like you don't also need to be like really good at like what I do. So it's true.
Like, yeah, ideally I know like right now, ideally, and it's tough too because a lot of the interactions I have are virtual, but ideally I am keeping up with it, and most of it's through DMs or like text if I'm like following closely with a person, or like sending videos over Dropbox or stuff of me playing songs. But yeah, it's really crazy how many people reach out, and just on the spectrum of like, your music is awesome, it's gonna help so many people, and it helped me to like, you saved my life. And like it's just crazy to hear. Like I can't even imagine. And just thinking about, I don't know, I'm a pretty small artist, and thinking about just like music in general, how much that impact has and how many people it's reaching out to. And yeah, not that all music is so mental health focused. And I think when I continue to release it, it's not all going to be revolving around, it can't always be revolving around the same narratives, but I'm just proud that people are reaching out and feel like, comfortable enough to reach out. And yeah, it's just a matter of like keeping those conversations going, which is hard over DMs sometimes.
For sure. But you're doing your part. So definitely be proud of yourself for that.
Yeah. Thank you. No, you too.
And I would you sing for us a little bit?
Yeah. Do you want me to play a song?
Yeah, I want you to play a song.
What do you want? Should I play All Is Well or?
Yeah, I like that one. You little uke, so cute.
It's a little like, it's called a Gita Lele.
Oh.
It's basically the same exact thing. I just can't play uke. So it's got 6 strings like a guitar, and they're just, it's just a MIDI thing.
Cute.
Yeah, it's nice. Let down all your love as it comes and goes away, and rest your patience, 'cause it's a long road to pace yourself until you held up watching come rescue my heart. Oh, help me slowly, but don't bring no sign of hurting out, 'cause I don't want to hear about how I've changed, how I've changed. If I get overwhelmed, sure you'll never know. Keep it to myself, all is well. Else I'm burdensome, weight that I won't let you hold, and I wanna lose it. Wanna choose what I forget, be clueless, unaware of what I do not have, only on the worst of my nights. It bleeds into my head, oh darling, it's nothing, you're right. I take it out of my breath. Oh, very well, sure you'll never know, or keep it to myself, all is well. Else I'm burdensome, weight that I won't let you hold, let you hold. Oh, 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 let you hold.
Yay! I love how you just light up when you sing. So
Okay, it's so much fun. I just woke up, so thanks for making me do that. But no, it's one of those things like talking about this sort of stuff. It's hard, but it does. I wouldn't say it light up in that way, but it makes me feel that feeling. And then when I play, I don't know if you can tell too, but I feel the same, but it's like it's in different context. And yeah, I'm distracted with my playing, but at the same time, I'm like processing shit. I don't know. It's good.
Oh yeah, that's why. Yeah, one of the reasons I like you so much is because you're so soulful. Like you're really expressing yourself through your voice and your music, and like you can feel how you're really fully in it. So
Thank
that
you.
makes a big difference.
That means a lot. I can't tell because I do feel myself playing all the time. Obviously, you have to, but I don't know. It definitely is like, yeah, you feel like the most when you're playing for someone too. I guess when you're playing alone, there's a whole other feeling. But yeah, thank you for listening because playing for someone does like a lot for me, and I don't know. Yeah, it's just a good feeling.
Yay, good. Okay, the last question of the podcast is if someone's struggling, what would you let them know?
I wish I knew more about this person.
I know, it's hard.
I would say it's hard to know too, because I don't want to like diminish their struggle at all. But I would say whatever struggle you're going through, it's gonna I should be careful with the way I say this, but it's gonna hopefully like reaffirm everything you want out of yourself, or at least push you towards like where you want to be as a person or mentally, or and maybe
Just think of your younger self. Like
the part that I know is true about this is that like the harder stuff you go through is the stuff that really like informs your identity. And it could do that in one of a couple ways, I feel like, but just knowing that like when you're going through the hardest stuff that the outcome could sit for a while. Like that could be, you could be sitting with yourself, wherever you're at with however it's resolved for a while. So yeah, I think just like when you're pushing through, don't do it in a way that's gonna hurt you long term. Yeah. Yeah. yeah, I don't know if my younger how young. I think the freshman year kid would definitely appreciate that for sure. Yeah,
Yeah, I think that's really important because we can really hurt ourselves the most in those times because we're so vulnerable and we're feeling so much. And since we're not taught in society how to feel, we're like, what do I do with all of this?
yeah,
And it's really easy to just get super fucked up in any form or get really addicted to sex or whatever it is. But yeah, it's like there's other ways to cope with it. And it's also okay if you at first like lean towards those. Like it's so natural. So
yeah, exactly. I mean, definitely college is for where I was best spot, but ideally you're with people going through the same exact stuff. So I would say lean into that community too. And if it seems like you're going at it alone, then bring someone along with you, for better or worse. Yeah, they probably, would rather be there than you be there alone. So yeah,
yes, there's always someone that wants to love you and help you for
exactly.
sure. And if people want to find you, tell them where you are and what's the deal?
Yeah. So my name's Hans Williams. I think I'm bad on everything. I think there are two M's on all my handles because someone stole all the Hans Williams handles.
Oh
But
shit.
yeah, it's messed up. No, there's a lot. Hans is like John in German. So if you think about it, there's got to be a lot
Oh,
out there. But that, and I think I'm gonna have a song coming out in like 5 or 6 weeks. I'm still finishing it right now, and we're gonna shoot a video for it. It's called Friends on the Internet. And it's kind of trying to encapsulate all the shit we've been through the last couple of years, and hopefully maybe a positive spin on it. But I don't know. Right now it's pretty dark the way I'm writing it. But yeah, I'm excited for that. Yeah.
amazing. Thank you so much for being here today.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much for having me, and just like having this using your platform in this way. It's really inspiring, and I can't wait to just kind of follow along with your journey, and yeah, keep like, I'm sure hopefully our little online communities will overlap too, which is always fun to see. So yeah.
Yeah, I think it's so fun. Like them, I've actually made so many friends off the internet and like meeting them in real life. It's just like such a great form. Like so when people say you can't make friends off the internet, it's definitely not true.
No, it's not sure at all. I think with the song I'm getting at, just like at Tulane, it's like you could follow someone for your whole 4 years here, maybe see them a lot, and you never talk. It's like, wow, we
Okay,
are
yeah.
friends on the performative basis. But yeah, I feel that too. I've met, my managers, a ton of like people I work with now, all these artist friends over Instagram DMs, and it's just, just gotta trust they're not weird. Yeah. Yeah, they're pretty cool. So yeah, you're cool too. So yeah.
Amazing. Thank you.